My beloved child, there are moments when the rush of the world feels deafening, when the demands of your day try to drown out the quiet voice of your soul. But right now, in this very second, I have brought a sudden stillness into your path. You might think this stirring within your heart is a sign of unrest, or perhaps the heavy accumulation of your daily weariness. But I tell you truly, it is the touch of my mercy. I do not wait until you are completely broken before I reach out to you. Nor do I stand at a distance and watch as your spirit slowly grows cold. I am awakening you while the ember of your faith is still glowing. I am calling you to pause and pray, not because I demand a religious duty, but because I want to pour my healing into the cracks of your weary heart. As it is written, if you hear his voice today, do not harden your hearts. For my invitation always arrives while there is still hope, not when every door has already been shut tight. What you are feeling right now is not condemnation. It is an invitation to return to true life before you become accustomed to the shadows and begin calling them normal. When you pause long enough to truly listen, you will realize that I never need the thunder or the earthquake to reach you. There are souls that have grown too exhausted from the clamor of the enemy's attacks and the noise of this world. And so I choose to come to you in gentleness. Do you remember when the prophet Elijah fled into the wilderness? He had just witnessed great victories, yet he became so drained, so fearful of the retaliation of the enemy, that he collapsed under a broom tree and wanted to give up everything. And I did not come to him with a force that shattered the rocks, nor with a fire that consumed the forest. I came to him with a gentle whisper, a still, small voice deep enough to touch the hidden place where he still held onto a fragment of faith. Do you see, my child? I do not need to overwhelm you in order to restore you. I only need you to pause, to breathe, and to let me touch the deepest place within you that is still open. But I know you do not always recognize my presence immediately. There are seasons when I speak through things you might quickly dismiss, a sudden restlessness with no clear reason, a fleeting sense of peace when nothing in your circumstances has actually changed, or even tears that well up in your eyes that you cannot explain. Do not be quick to wipe those tears away or push those feelings aside. For as my word declares, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. In the very moments when you feel the weakest, I am drawing the closest. What the enemy calls your fragility, I call an open door for my grace. What you think is an unusual trembling of your emotions, I call the beginning of a profound spiritual awakening. Look deeper into your own soul, my beloved. When rains of sorrow seem to fall within you, they are not meant to drown you. They are my cleansing waters, meant to wash away the layers of dust that you did not even realize had gathered upon your heart. There are habits you have kept that no longer carry life. There are prayers you have spoken that no longer carry the fire of expectation. And there are steps you continue to take simply because they have become familiar. I do not want you to live that way anymore. I am not seeking an outward display of strength. I am seeking truth in the hidden places. I do not need you to be perfect, I only need you to be honest. And when you pause and pray, allowing me to touch the parts of you that you have kept hidden, my light will begin to spread, not from the outside, but from deep within you. There's a story of old that you must remember today, for its truth is coming alive within you right now. It is the story of the young boy Samuel. In the quiet of the night, he heard a voice calling his name, but he did not yet know how to recognize that it was me. He ran to the priest Eli, thinking it was a human voice interrupting his sleep. But after several times, he was taught how to listen rightly, not merely with his physical ears, but with a surrendered heart. And then he answered, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." Lord, I am issuing that same urgent invitation to you today. I am calling you to pause, not to frighten you, but to teach you how to recognize my voice among the countless lies of the enemy. The question is not whether I am speaking. The question is whether you are willing to stop your striving and listen. Therefore, when you feel a gentle prompting pulling you away from the chaotic rhythm of your life, do not resist it. When you find that your soul is no longer satisfied with the superficial things that once seemed to be enough, do not turn back in search of the old familiarity. That holy dissatisfaction is not a loss. It is a divine signal that you are being led into something far deeper. Awake, O sleeper, rise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you. You were not created to live your days in a state of spiritual slumber, half awake and half asleep, merely surviving the attacks of the enemy. You were called to walk in the light, a light that not only exposes the traps set before you, but completely transforms you from the inside out. I know there are dark corners within your heart that you actively avoid. There are memories of betrayal you do not want to look back on, and deep questions of injustice you have not yet dared to bring before me. But my beloved child, I do not come to force your heart open like a conqueror. I come to stand at the door and knock, waiting until you are ready to turn the handle. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come into him. I wait because true love always honors your freedom. Therefore, do not fear this spiritual awakening. Do not think that I am making you uncomfortable in order to punish you for your past mistakes. No, I am drawing you out of the spiritual sleep where you had grown used to the dimness, without realizing how much of your inheritance the enemy had stolen. I am calling you back to true life. I do not want you to remember me merely as a religious tradition or a distant memory of your childhood. I want you to walk with me as a living, breathing reality in your present moment. And when you begin to respond to this invitation to pause and pray, even with just one small step of faith, you will suddenly realize that I have never been far away. I was there in every breath you took when you were crying yourself to sleep. I was there in every beat of your heart when you felt entirely abandoned. In every moment when you thought you were completely alone, fighting battles no one else could see, I have always been nearer to you than the very air you breathe. Now, as you awaken to my presence, you will no longer live as you did before. You will live as one who is chosen, loved, and guarded, not driven by the fear of lack, but guided by a light that the darkness can never extinguish. There are things you sense in the depths of your spirit that you have not yet been able to put into words. But I tell you, do not be quick to panic. The tears you shed, whether they rise from your own grief or seem to fall from heaven's touch upon you, do not carry the darkness of despair. They contain the light of a pure, restorative love that is actively at work on your behalf. I never allow the pain inflicted by the enemy to become the final chapter of your story. I use it as a doorway, breaking open the hard ground so that my healing can take root. Therefore, when your heart trembles, when your eyes grow wet and you cannot explain why, do not turn your face away from me. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. That is not a distant saying meant only to console. It is a truth already working the moment you allow yourself to be touched. There are seasons when I do not use many words with you. Not because I have withdrawn my presence, but because human words are not deep enough to reach the calcified layers of hurt within your soul. People may hear much and understand much, yet still remain unchanged. Because there are things that cannot be resolved by reason alone. So I choose another way. I let my mercy flow like a quiet stream, seeping into the desolate places you have never dared to open to anyone else. I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you. I will remove from you your heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh. Although you say, I do not only teach you with external commands, I transform you from within, in the secret place that no one but I can touch. And when that flow of restoration begins, you may find yourself feeling softer than before, more easily moved to emotion, more likely to remember things from the past. But my beloved child, that is not a sign that you are going backward or losing your deliverance. It is the undeniable sign that you are being healed. Before I establish my new blessings, I always soften the old, hardened ground. Before I build up the new walls of your life, I cleanse the foundation. The pain you once buried deeply did not miraculously disappear. It has only been waiting for the appointed time to be touched in the right way by the right hands. And when I touch it, I do not break you open in order to leave you exposed and abandoned. I break open the shell of your pain in order to remake you with abundant life. Remember the woman who came to the feet of my son with the alabaster jar of perfume. She did not come to him with eloquent, perfectly constructed prayers. She came with tears that fell upon his feet, which she wiped away with her hair, offering a love that refused to be hidden by shame. The religious people around her looked at her with harsh judgment, defining her solely by her past. But I saw true repentance, a shattered heart, and an open spirit. And it was declared, her many sins have been forgiven, as her great love has shown. Although you say, tears are never a sign of failure when they are poured out in my presence. They become the very language of your restoration. There are tears you have wept in the middle of the night that you thought no human eye had ever seen. But I have kept every single one of them. You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. None of your secret pain has been forgotten. No memory of injustice is too small for me to care about. And likewise, the tears I allow to rise within you today are never meaningless. They find their way to the very places in your soul that desperately need my healing, the corners you have walled off, the memories of betrayal you have avoided, the empty spaces of loss you have not yet dared to face. Therefore, do not run away when your heart begins to melt in my presence. Do not call it weakness when you need to lean on me. What you are going through is not a collapse, it is a spiritual rebirth. A heart that is so traumatized it can no longer feel anything is the truly fearful thing. But a heart that is becoming tender again is a heart that is coming back to life. My beloved child, when my mercy and my justice intersect in your life, a sacred movement is set into motion. I do not stand at a distance, merely observing your struggles. I step in to transform them. Your tears become the beginning of your victory, not the end of your endurance. And as you pass through this process of pausing and praying, you will realize that you are no longer the same person you were yesterday. Not because you have tried to become stronger, but because you have been made new from within. Remain in that flow of grace, my child. Do not rush to find a way back to your old coping mechanisms. What I am doing within you is not a temporary repair job. It is a total renewal down to the very root of your bloodline. When the new season of restoration arrives, you will belong to it with a heart that has been washed clean, made tender, and filled with my invincible life. Pause now. Breathe in my grace. Pray with an open heart. Your season of loss has ended, and your restoration begins today. Amen.